Another multi-year effort and bipartisan priority has revolved around improved funding for wildfire response and proactive forest management to reduce the risk of major wildfires to rural homes and state forests. This year, lawmakers approved a $67.5 million per year funding plan for the Department of Natural Resources to improve community resilience, forest health, and hire additional firefighting resources. Joining me now, Republican State Representative Tom Dent of Moses Lake. Thank you for your time today. Let's get right to it. What do you see as the most significant environmental legislation that passed this session?
In my opinion, the most significant environmental piece of legislation was House Bill 1168, which has to do with forest health and fire suppression. It's something that's way overdue. We've needed this for a long time. We've accomplished this bill, and I'm looking forward to positive results, positive change as a result of this.
In terms of some of the other types of environmental issues that came up, a low carbon fuel standard was approved this year. There was essentially a carbon cap and, depending on who you ask, cap and trade or cap and invest program. Those were some of the things that were also approved. What is your take on those issues?
Well, you know, we're looking for a lot of, we're talking a lot about carbon issues in the air and climate change and things of that nature. But we always come back to forest health. And, you know, our wildfires contribute about 1/5 of the carbon that goes into our atmosphere every year in the state of Washington. And I think we need to take, that's what I suggested was our most significant legislation, was forest health. We have watched our forest health due to insect infestations, diseases, and such, to bring our forest health just down. I mean, we're killing trees out there, they're dying. Forest health is going to pieces. We've stopped the logging and the issues that would keep our forest clean to save the spotted owl, which was a good cause, and I agree with that. We need to save our species, but we haven't been able to do that. And the reason we're losing those is because of another owl called the barred owl, and they're driving them out. So we've let our forests get very, very unhealthy, and we have excessive fuel. We get excessive fuel. We get an ignition source, and then we get catastrophic wildfires, and that puts all the carbon into the air, and that's something we really need to deal with. We can get our forest healthy again. We can go back to healthy wildfires, and they're not catastrophic. They're just fires that clean up the forest, and that would make a major difference in what we look at every year.
Briefly, do you think there's sort of a paradigm shift with approval of this funding, with this issue being recognized as a priority, that perhaps there will be more, controlled logging, controlled cutting, clearing of forests, and therefore it could promote economic activity in areas of the state that have been really hurting since the issue with the spotted owl that you mentioned earlier?
Oh, absolutely. And I mean, I've seen this change in the last 2 or 3 years. We've seen a change to going back towards healthy forests. Unfortunately, we've lost much of our infrastructure to do that, but it's coming back. We're building it back. But we also have to support the folks that do that in that industry that are going to provide that infrastructure in order to provide that logging and those things to make our forests more healthy. So, you know, it's a two-way street. The government's going to have to work with the folks. The folks are going to have to work with us to make this happen. But absolutely, we're going to see a shift. We're going to see progress. I do believe that.
Okay, one bill that passed would essentially phase out the sale of gas-powered vehicles in Washington State, or the registration of those vehicles, by 2030, with the caveat that the bill would kick in when about 3/4 of the state had registered for a pay-per-mile or road usage charge tax. What are your thoughts about A, that ban, and B, that tax or charge?
Well, you know, I'm a little reluctant to support a ban like that. I mean, I think there's a lot of places we can go to clean up our atmosphere, and I get clean air. I get that. I have kids. I'm a big major kids fan. Okay, and our young people are important to me. But you know, as I look back when I was in high school and we got 10, 12 miles a gallon, and now we get 34 miles a gallon, and we're doing so much better, and our technology is going to continue to improve around the use of fossil fuels. To ban them, I think, is wrong. We think that we're going to have all electric. Okay, we still have to produce that electricity, and we're not going to be able to do that with the windmills and solar panels. It's going to take more than that. So, you know, one of the questions I've always asked is, okay, where does the electricity come from to charge up the batteries to make this happen? And I don't get real clear answers all the time. We need to look at that, and we need to be realistic and real about that. I think that's important. The road usage charge, you know, if we're going to go to that, then we need to eliminate the other one. So, and not just add the road usage charge to that. So I think there needs to be a serious, if we're going to do that, a serious tax proposal that shows us how we're going to do that, you know, and how we can eliminate one tax to go to another tax. And that's going to be difficult because our highway construction is bonded out, you know, I think 20, 30 years or maybe more. So some of that can't go away right away. So it's going to take some really in-depth thinking and planning to make that work. So is it a good idea? Not sure. Not really spent a lot of time thinking about that topic. But if we're going to do it, we need to recognize that we eliminate one tax to create another one. And that's what we need to do. We
got 15 seconds left. What will Washingtonians that you represent notice about this session based on the environmental bills that passed?
I think it's going to increase the cost of living and probably to decrease the standard of living the way the current bills are structured.
Well, I'm afraid we're out of time, but thank you very much for your perspective. Again, Representative Tom Dent from Moses Lake, we appreciate you joining us.
Thank you. My pleasure.